This is The Sports Life.
13 seconds left. Here comes Jaden Ivey racing up the floor for three, and the tie. It's good. And we're tied with 8.9 to play. Here comes Chucky. A chance for the title. 6 seconds left. Hepburn left side with three, with two. Hepburn good! Off the glass! Off the glass! With 1.2 to play. And the Badgers take the lead at the Call Center.
And welcome into the Sports Life. We'll team in along with Dalton Shetler. What a great call by Matt LePay. As Wisconsin uses every second of that game to beat Purdue and get a Big Ten title. Well, we are featuring 2022, but we'll get to that in a minute. And Dalton, I think as we look at this show, this is a very special show. It features Terry Wymer. And, of course, Terry Wymer is Executive Director of the Collegiate Officiating Consortium and the Coordinator of Officials for the Big Ten Conference. And what we're going to talk about in this show are the new rules. That's part of it. But also we're going to get behind the curtains a little bit about how we get officials, things that are problems, things that are good, things to work on. And Terry Wymer, one of the great officials of all time before he retired, he has such perspective on this. I think fans are really going to love this.
Oh, I think you're spot on. I think it's going to be very insightful in terms of, you're right, the operations, the logistics of it all, but also if you're a college basketball fan who hasn't really been paying attention this summer, you might flip on the TV next year and say, that counts as an and one because there are new rules. Coaches can challenge now. There's a lot to get into there with Terry Wymer.
Okay, 2022 is the featured year.
And we're going to be talking a lot of basketball. I mean, we just kicked things off with a bank shot buzzer beater to win the Big Ten title, as you got to hear there with Matt LePay and Chucky Hepburn. Well, how about in the Big Ten tournament? Jordan Bohannon had a buzzer beater of his own as he sent the Indiana Hoosiers packing. They're in Indiana, a very favorable IU crowd, but Jordan Bohannon would wave goodbye, as it's called by Gary Dolphin.
Tie game with 28 seconds to go in regulation. Connor McCaffrey into the front court. Tran wants to save that last timeout. Shot clock and game clock are even, so the Hawks will go for the win here or play for the overtime. 4 in, 1 out. Connor McCaffrey looking for Keegan Murray. Bohannon's running the baseline. Now Bohannon has it with 4 seconds left. Bohannon a long three to win it. Banks it in! Banks it in with 0.8 of a second to go. Banks it in with 0.8 of a second to go. Indiana calls a timeout. Number 3, banked in a 3.
Wow, right from dead on, Gary. He knew he had to get it up there. The clock was way winding down, and Jordan was working hard on the baseline. Got the pass and just threw it up there with a man in his face. Banked it home perfectly.
3/4 of this stadium is absolutely stunned. The other quarter, black and gold, are whooping it up.
What a great call by Gary Dolphin, and what a magic moment, not only for the Iowa Hawkeyes with that win, they would go on to beat Purdue for the Big Ten tournament title. And I always thought one of the cool things, Dalton, in that whole event was that Coach Fran McCaffrey got to win the title with his 2 sons.
Yeah. That was super special. I love, too, that Gary Dolphin says the other quarter in black and gold are whooping it up. Well, part of it also was not just the Iowa black and gold, but Purdue's black and gold, because they got to see the rival Indiana lose on that shot.
I mean, when you think about it, they got to beat 2 home teams. The thing was in Indianapolis, right?
Right.
So a lot of Boilers, a lot of Hoosiers attended that. But what a wonderful moment for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Sure was. We'll get away from the bank shot buzzer beaters now, because we've heard 2 of them already at the top of this show. But let's go back to the end of the regular season. We played that Wisconsin defeated Purdue on a bank shot buzzer beater via Chucky Hepburn, but Illinois also shared the Big Ten regular season crown that season thanks to a win at the end of the regular season, defeating none other than the Iowa Hawkeyes. So here's what the final call sounded like as the Fighting Illini were crowned Big Ten champions with Brian Barnhart.
74-72, Illinois by 2. 10 seconds left. Here is Perkins with a drive in the lane. Out top, Chris Murray now in the corner for 3. Missed it. Rebound, Illinois. Frazier's got it. And the Big Ten championship is in Champaign. They rush the floor. It's been a long time coming. And they're on the floor. The Illini dodge a late bullet. And the State Farm Center floor with the Red Blue Henson court is awash in orange.
weren't too happy, were they?
Oh, you got to love that.
You know, it's interesting, though. You reflect on what Brian just called that last second, right? Mm-hmm. We had that great win, Iowa over Indiana, to get to a title game. You go through this, and when you think of all the time and energy spent getting ready for a game, at the end of the day, championships are decided at the end with seconds to go. It's nuts. Well, when we come back with more of the Sports Life, a special edition is going to take place as we visit with Terry Wymer, who's Executive Director of the Collegiate Officiating Consortium and the Coordinator of Officials for the Big Ten Conference. We're going to have a conversation about officiating that's probably unlike any we've ever had. It's all coming up in just a moment.
So, got one for you, boss.
Oh, yeah?
What's black, white, and dented all over?
I give up.
The company truck. I know, but thanks to our agent, we've already submitted an insurance claim and can track the status right from the app. Auto owners pays what they owe without any hassle.
Lucky for you, that's simple human sense.
Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
If you have diabetes, listen up. If you have insurance, you can qualify for a continuous glucose monitor. With a CGM, you can continuously track your levels and trends and spend more time in range, significantly lowering your A1C. More importantly, a CGM eliminates the one thing most people with diabetes hate: painful finger sticks. Order your new continuous glucose monitor today. If you use insulin and if you've seen your diabetes care provider within the last 6 months, you may qualify for your own CGM right now. We'll do all the insurance paperwork and deliver your new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. Medicare and most insurances will cover your CGM, so don't wait. Have your insurance handy and call the Aptiva Medical CGM Health Hotline right now.
800-948-6912. 800-948-6912. 800-948-6912. That's 800-948-6912.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Dad. Did you get a new haircut or something? A new shirt? You're looking good.
What happened?
A little fender bender?
How little?
A few days in the shop little. But thanks to Mom and our agent, we've already submitted a claim and can track the status right from the app. Auto owners pays what they owe without any hassle.
Sounds like simple human sense.
I'm fine, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna ask.
Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
We'll be back with more in a moment. This is The Sports Life.
Roxanne Watson is on a mission.
Hello, how are you doing today?
She wants more people to register as organ, eye, and tissue donors.
Are you an organ donor?
Yes, I am.
Yay.
My goal is to sign up the most people in the United States.
What drives her? Roxanne's own life was saved through the gift of a heart transplant, made possible by an organ donor.
I decided that day that I was going to devote myself to the cause of organ donation and signing people up and honoring my donor by doing that.
Now she's back to health, and she's a powerful force helping to save lives every day through her work. Imagine what you can make possible by leaving behind the gift of life.
8 people can be helped with the major organs, and up to 50 people can be helped with a little bit of everything. And when you think about it that way, that you could help that many people, it's amazing. It really is.
Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
And welcome back to more of the Sports Life. Will Teeman here along with Dalton Shetler. Well, if you're in the world of covering sports, it seems like you're always evaluating something. At the top of that list, most likely, would be the continual evaluation of teams, coaches, and players. And since that group is performance-based, you have tangible data to help with your evaluation. Now, when it comes to collegiate basketball officiating, what is the best way to evaluate performance? Well, somebody years ago once said, if you don't notice the official then, they must be doing a good job. Well, maybe, maybe not. But what we do know is that today's special Sports Live guest has a resume that reflects greatness. Our guest is Terry Wymer. He is Executive Director of the Collegiate Officiating Consortium and Coordinator of the Officials of the Big Ten Conference, a position he accepted in 2023. His resume reads as follows: 35 years as a college basketball official, 22 straight NCAA appearances, 11 NCAA regional assignments. He has worked 5 Final Fours, 3 NCAA national title games, and 6 Big Ten tournament title games. And Terry, welcome into the show. We have a lot of things to talk to you about. And so why don't we start off with this one? The NCAA Men's Basketball Rules Committee gave us a new set of rules to add to what we already have for the upcoming season. So here comes our first question. What do you think?
Well, I'll go back, yeah, for the most part, but you got to understand I'm on the rules committee. So I represent the supervisors, the Power Fours. Terry Oglesby, who you've seen officiate many times, was the referee on the committee. It was a 2-year period. We take information from what coaches want to hear or see, what other supervisors want to see, and we take that to the committee. We are not a voting member of the committee. We can only make recommendations that they run by us. As far as rules, I thought they did a pretty good job this year overall from a standpoint. The last 2 minutes of game takes forever. So I think the challenge is going to be good because I think we get 90%, 9 out of every 10 calls on out of bounds correct at the end of the game, under 2 minutes. The stats, the NCAA had the stats, which is a very high number. But what happens is, every coach wants a timeout. Official will use the monitor as a crutch and look at that and lean on that. So when a coach questions you, you know what? You're automatically going to go over and look. That gives them a timeout. This actually started a long time ago with Bo Ryan at Wisconsin. Bo at the end of the game wants us to check it. So finally, and we do have the rule in the book that if you request it and I go check it and you're wrong, it's going to charge a timeout. And I can remember being at Wisconsin, Bo, Terry, you got to check it. I said, Bo, I'm not giving you another timeout, but if you want me to check, I'll check. And if you're wrong, we'll take a timeout. He says, never mind, don't worry about it. We're okay. So, but coaches are smart, man. They know how to handle the rules. They know how to manipulate them to their benefits. And as far as that happens, they get a challenge. If they're right, they get one more challenge. I thought that was fair. They can challenge basket first goaltending. Under 2 minutes, they can challenge the restricted area play, and then they could also challenge the out of bounds. There was some scuttle about, do we let them challenge a foul call? Because in the NBA you can challenge a foul, and I recommended not to challenge fouls because they lose automatically. They save it till the end of the game. Just one more thing that officials don't need to do at this point. But I think that's a good rule to expedite the game. I think the public, I know at the Final Four I'm sitting in the stands and watching, and it gets the last 2 minutes, they start challenging. It just slows the game down. We're trying to expedite the game because we want more points, and that's how they came about with the challenges, Will. So,
Terry, of all these new rules, what do you think was the most significant rule change?
The challenge to expedite the game. I believe that was the number one on the docket. I think the continuation, taking a one step on the drive, not rewarding the defense. I thought that was a big step too. We were lagging behind that. Even high school had the rule that we just implemented that if I'm driving the basket and you foul me, you get one more step out of the pivot to continue the basket. Where before you would kill it on the foul, so what was happening was you were rewarding the defense for bad defense, and so I thought that was a good rule change too. I thought that was excellent. That needed to be done, but there's a lot of what I call minutia rules, like headband. Before it was 2 inches. You go tell the player you can't have a headband 4 inches, logo size. So we become the uniform police. And what was recited was, the Fab Five changed the shorts. It wasn't a rule, but they went different. We need to adjust with the players now, because you'll see players with wide headbands. So what happens is you'll tell them, please, roll it down to 2 inches, but by, 2 possessions later, it's back up to 4. So you're constantly fighting that. So I thought, small rules like that. I think it's reviewing the rules that are already written and implementing them. That's what I talked to our officials about. Play calling is big for us. It's big for every coach, especially in the last 4 minutes. We can't miss plays in the last 4 minutes of the game, because that's the only thing everybody remembers. We'll have 200 plays in the game. I think our play calling is about 90. I know the NCAA play calling correct calls 96%, which is a high number. It's better than what stats are. But I will tell you this: most of our coaches, I was at the spring meeting with them, and I would tell you what they said. Well, and I agree with this. They'll say official never cost or won us a game. And that's very refreshing. Now, it goes back to also, do you have a winning record or not? Because if you have a losing record, it goes back to the blame game, the officials. But listen, every official is going to miss calls. Every player is going to miss baskets. So it's a chemistry of everybody having to work together for the best result, the outcome of the game.
I wanted to go back to what you brought up with the continuation rule, Terry, because you mentioned that this is a little behind the times. It's been overdue to put this into place. Yeah. And I mean, you watch the NBA, it's a pretty wide difference. It's a big contrast versus their continuation and what college basketball's been. My question to you, is it difficult at all for officials to interpret the continuation rule? Is there any fear about them having a hard time making that adjustment, or is that a pretty simple change for officials?
I think it's a pretty simple change, Dalton. It's just I got the gather of the ball and I'm moving to make that shot, and then a foul occurs. You just let them take one more step, or if they pivot out of it, they get a step out of the pivot too. I think it's an easy rule to change. I still think on the challenge rules, it's going to be difficult for some officials from a confidence level. We don't want to get to the end of the game and everybody's questioning the out of bounds. We're going to bring the humanistic error back into that. And are they going to miss? Yeah, but like I said, the study shows that they get 9 out of 10 right. And hopefully you don't miss that. But they have the authority to go on their own if they really think they should. But I don't want it used as a crutch. I don't want them to use it as a crutch. And that's what a lot of people do, at the end of the game, because they don't want to be the person next day with the media or whoever saying, well, they missed this play, it cost 2 points, cost the game. So, but I think it's an easy change, Dalton.
Well, when we come back with more of the Sports Life in our conversation with Terry Wymer, we're going to touch on one of my favorite topics, Dalton: time spent by officials at the monitor during a game. Back with more in just a moment.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Dad, did you get a new haircut or something? A new shirt? You're looking good.
What happened?
A little fender bender?
How little?
A few days in the shop little, but thanks to Mom and our agent, we've already submitted a claim and can track the status right from the app. Auto owners pays what they owe without any hassle.
Sounds like simple human sense.
I'm fine, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna ask.
Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
This is a potter's field. When people can't pay for their funerals, they are buried here. It is a lonely, desolate place, littered with unmarked headstones. No one visits. No one leaves flowers. But it doesn't have to be that way. For as low as $1 a day, you can ensure your family will have the money to pay your funeral expenses. We offer burial insurance plans that pay up to $30,000. Considering the average funeral costs more than $10,000, that's peace of mind for your family. There are no medical exams, your rates won't increase, and your policy cannot be canceled as long as you make your premium payments. Call now to get approved in minutes and ensure your final resting place is more than just a pauper's grave in a potter's field.
800-562-2407. 800-562-2407. 800-562-2407. That's 800-562-2407. Paid for by Final Expense Direct.
Hear that? That's you trying to fix the plumbing yourself to save a few bucks. Doing things yourself doesn't always end well. The same goes for insurance. That's why Auto Owners works with local independent agents who tailor coverage to meet your needs and offer discounts for life, home, car, and business insurance. Because sometimes you need a professional to get the job done right.
I'm okay.
That's simple human sense. Ask your independent agent if Auto Owners make sense for you.
We'll be back with more in a moment. This is The Sports Life.
Here's a real-life story that affects 50% of all of us out there. It's called divorce. If you've gotten divorced and now you're struggling to pay your bills and your credit card debts are completely out of control, you need to call this special debt relief hotline right now. We help people with all kinds of money problems caused by different life challenges, a divorce, a job loss, even heavy medical bills. All these life events can sometimes financially stress you out and cause you to get out of control. We help people get their lives back by showing them ways to consolidate and reduce their debt, in some cases for a fraction of what they owe. If your credit card balances are more than $10,000, call us and learn how to reduce your credit card bills and monthly payments now. Here's our number.
Paid for by Debt.com. Call now, 800-810-1584, 800-810-1584, 800-810-1584. That's 800-810-1584.
And welcome back for this special edition of the Sports Life as we visit this show with the Executive Director of the Collegiate Officiating Consortium and Coordinator of Officials for the Big Ten Conference, that being Terry Wymer. And Terry, before we get to our next set of questions, if those listening are curious, what is the Collegiate Officiating Consortium? It consists of the Big Ten, along with the Mid-American Conference, the Horizon League, and the Summit League. Okay? Here you go. A couple more questions. First, can we talk about the time spent by officials in front of a monitor during the game? And the second new rule talks about reducing physicality. Can you talk about that one?
Love to. Well, let's talk about physicality. We've been trying to get this out ever since I started 3 years ago. This is my fourth year. Big talk about it. I talked about the rules committee. It's in the book. I always said that if I'm a post player and you're playing legal defense on me, if I hit you once, that's, you may pass on that. But if I hit you again, I need to take an offensive foul. That's what we talked about. But it's interesting. Coaches want physicality in the post, especially out too. But you know what? The first thing they do, they put a sub in. They put Dalton in. Okay, Dalton, put a body on him. Push him off the block. Put that forearm in his back, driving. So you want it out, but you're going to tell Dalton to get in the game and put a body on him to make it physical. So where's the happy medium? You want it out, but you're promoting it. So I think this is what they'll hear in my clinic. You hit a second time, it better be a foul call. Better be a foul call. Why punish the defense? So you know what happens is I hit you once, I hit you twice, I hit you three times. Now I'm right underneath the basket. And some of these guys, such superb athletes, they can actually go up and dunk it if they want to because they can jump out of the gym. Cohen Carr could do that easily if you just let him pound away. But because the way he can jump, he's a freak of nature. So we got to take that physicality. It really bothers me that we reward the offense for pounding the defensive guy with their shoulder. They can take it on the first one, especially if he lowers that shoulder and hits you. But you need to take it on the second one for sure. So here's what you get at the monitor. Once again, officials use it as a crutch. They go to the monitor, pull up DV Sport. And so, there's typically in the Big Ten arena anywhere from 4 to 6. Final Fours, I think they have like 18 cameras or whatever. So they want to make sure. And Fox, I always had a good relationship with the Fox, Steve Shearer. And so I could pick up the phone and say, Steve, do we have all the looks? Do we have the production feed? Because some people don't give you a production feed unless they ask her. They want to go through all. The problem that you're talking about is I'm the referee and the calling official. We go in to look at it. Now we call in a third one. Now we go back and get together and decide, 2/3 rules, or is a referee going to say, I'm making a decision? So I agree. A time limit on it, I don't know once you're over there, but I think you'll be surprised. I think the average was like a minute 27 seconds. I could be misquoted on that. It's under a minute 30, but it just seems forever. And then you got to get the players back on the floor after that play. But there hasn't been, if it's said, it was said, just lightly that we need to do something about that. But I think, if it goes forward, years to come, and it's still a problem, I'm sure they will. But it goes back to, I go over, I don't get a production feed, the feed that you're seeing at home, and I miss the call. We're scrutinized, as you know. There's going to be a big problem next day, especially with the gamblers.
Terry, one of the rule changes that took place, and Will and I came away with an interpretation, but we weren't fully clear on, and we wanted to help, and we figured you're the guy who can help us with this. There was the rule put in that you can't use the rim to gain an advantage, and we both had thought that was already a thing. Could you help kind of clarify that?
Yeah, so, quite frankly, so as you remember the old rule, if I was going up and I grabbed the rim to assist myself and then dunked the ball, you waved it off and gave a technical foul. To expedite the game now, they're going to call a violation on that play. You're not going to shoot a technical. You are going to wave the basket off, but we're not shooting technical fouls. We're going to get the ball in play. So defensively, if I go up and I do the same thing, reward the basket, and we're not shooting any technical fouls. Okay. So it's very clean cut. They just took the technical fouls out of it. It's still going to be a violation. It says, I can tell you, it says under the current rule, I got it here in front of me, this has been classified as a Class B technical. In certain situations, the result, team committing an infraction is being still rewarded the ball. Make it easier for the coaches to adjudicate, or officials to adjudicate the play and expedite the game. They're just taking out the technical foul, call the violation, and going from the point of violation.
Well, Terry, a couple more questions. This one I've always found really intriguing to me. At what point does an official decide to call a T on a coach? There's always a lot of dialogue going on, but is there a magic moment where sometimes it seems quicker than other times? Is there like a rule of thumb here?
I'll tell you this, Will. When my fun bucket was run over, I was going to hit you. That was the thing. If you made a personal attack on me, I was going to come back at you. Officials don't want to be the center of the attention, believe it or not. Well, let's back up. Most of the officials in the country don't want to be the center of attention. We have a handful of guys who have big egos, and through the years, everybody's put them on a pedestal of being one of the top officials, so they run the game a little bit different. But there is no, if you're continuously going after me on every play, I'll give you the stop sign. But then again, Will, you can always say, Coach, I've heard enough. Okay, then he goes back at you. Now I can put a warning in the book, so he knows he's going to get it, and then he go to the third round. But if he's malicious, verbaling at you, you can hit him at any time. There's no key word, so to speak, because I can tell you, truthfully, Will, Dalton, if a coach cursed at me, I cursed him back. I know you're not allowed, not supposed to, but that was all they understood. But I can remember Lewis Orr. I don't know if you remember Lewis Orr was at Bowling Green. God rest his soul, played with the Bowie and Louie show. Syracuse was a great man, great Christian. you would never curse at him because he spoke with you politely and asked you the question. So it goes back to communication. And a matter of fact, at our meeting come September 19th, I'm going to bring a special communicator in to speak about this. But there is no key word. It's just, here's what people forget. A lot of these guys have day jobs. Half of them have day jobs. You don't know what's going on in their family. You don't know if they got flights delayed. There's a lot of things that goes into the whole day. So when they come there, there's a lot on their shoulders too, as the coaches, win or lose. I mean, they got contracts. I always said, don't cost the coach a team a game, don't cost a coach a contract, his job. So there's a lot weighing. I don't think they see officials enough out of the stripes. I don't think they know them as human beings. But then again, once every coach, has a guy. So they'd say, I don't want to see Terry Wymer. Well, we don't have a blackball list for one thing. If you're on my roster, you're going to work at every school potentially. But then they'd say, if I look down here, Coach B likes Terry Wymer. So is it fair to Coach B to not put Terry Wymer on the game because Coach A? So at that point, you might as well do away with me and assigners and let the coaches decide who they want to work the games. And then once again, you got to understand, a lot of coaches want technicals at certain points. They're getting beat by 20, 18. They want to make a run, and they think it changes the game. Some games it changes the flow, gets their players geared up to come out and play harder. But sometimes they ask for, I can remember I was working at an NCAA tournament. It was Illinois against Loyola, Chicago. And Brad had enough. And I'd worked plenty of times for Brad. Because he knew me, I knew him. I know all the coaches back in the day. Running by him, he said, Terry, I need a technical. So I obliged him. So everybody's saying, well, what did he say? What did he say? I said, it was just time to give him a technical. And it didn't change the game, but he needed to get to his players and say, hey, we're in a series. And that's when Loyola beat him, actually. And I thought they should have won. So
now you're in charge of training, you're in charge of mentoring, you're in charge of retooling a sport that always has part of change with retirements, etc. As a guy overseeing all of this, what is the most difficult part of that job?
The first year I took this over, in the first 3 years, I let 75 officials go in our consortium, which, it consists of the Big Ten, Mountain West, MAC Summit, Horizon. Officials don't know when to say it's time. They're either two ways. They go on their own, like I was intending to do before this job came my way, or they're going to be asked for a succession plan. What's going to happen? And then when you tell them this will be their last year, then they leave and they're all bitter. They don't look at all the success they've had for 20 or 25 years. That's a tough call. They always say it's lonely at the top. I'd say officiating is a heck of a lot easier than this because I had to worry about one person. That was me. I could handle the coaches, so on and so forth, break down my video, and then make adjustments for the next game. Now I've got 140 on staff, which trying to get them all on the same page, it can be difficult. So we train a lot. Matter of fact, this coming in August, we'll start twice a month Zoom call training, but we're continuously breaking out plays. We continuously train, things like that. But it's not an easy job by any means. But if it was easy, everybody would be in consideration. But I brought some new faces in, which was very good, very helpful. I think they're well respected. Had to get rid of some people that was even working the Final Four that just didn't fit our model, so to speak. Because I always say this, you got to be a good locker room person, treat everybody with respect, and you got to be a good play caller. Now, you got good play callers out there, but they're bad in the locker room, and if you can't get along with your partners, that's long. That's a long night. So 18 coaches, deal with them. But I'll go back. I can't say it enough. I've got great coaches. I got great coaches. I watch every conference game, break down every conference game, So if I get a text or something, I already know. It's like a good manager knows the answer to the question before it's even asked. So I can watch a play. I know what plays are going to no call incorrect calls, things like that. That I'm going to watch the game. I'm going to clip the play, send it to so and so, say, tell me what you saw in this play. I hope better understand on how they can get that corrected for everybody. You know, we had a coach call me, and I would say most of everybody's very respectful. A lot of psychiatric work. So it calls me and said, "Did you watch the game?" Yeah, I said, "I watched it. This play was missed here and here, and out of bounds was missed twice in the last 20 seconds." And he went to review it. They didn't get it right. And he said, "Well, I just want to make sure you saw the play." So he was a little amped up in the beginning. But by the time we're done talking, he says, "What kind of check do I owe for a consultation?" I said, "What?" He says, "Well, you talked me off the ledge because you saw it and you gave me an explanation for it. I really greatly appreciate that." I said, "Hey, I just appreciate, your coaching, how you represent the Big Ten, and we just got to get plays right." And it wasn't even my assignment. That's the thing. It was somebody else's assignment. But we had one guy on the game. But those are tough calls. And but hey, I have open dialogue with all my coaches. If I don't hear from them in 2 weeks, I'll call them just to make sure everything's okay. So it's all relationships, and it all goes back to number one thing I think in this business is communication. You got to communicate.
Got to communicate, man. Isn't that the truth? Well, when we come back with more of our chat with Terry Wymer, we're going to talk about gambling and its negative impact on the college game. But first, a break right here on the Sports Life.
So, got one for you, boss.
Oh, yeah?
What's black, white, and dented all over?
I give up.
The company truck. I know, but thanks to our agent, we've already submitted an insurance claim and can track the status right from the app. Auto owners pays what they owe without any hassle.
Lucky for you, that's simple human sense.
Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
Do you hear that? That's the sound of uncertainty lurking under your hood. You know the feeling. I know I do. That sudden sinking sensation when you see a check engine light or your car unexpectedly breaks down and you're faced with sky-high repair bills. It's time to shield against unexpected repairs with CarShield. CarShield is America's most trusted auto protection company and has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. Don't let the fear of a breakdown keep you up at night. Trust the Shield, CarShield, and say goodbye to terrifying repair bills and hello to peace of mind. Your plan also comes with 24/7 roadside assistance, courtesy towing, rental car options, and so much more. Don't wait till it's too late. Call CarShield now before a breakdown. Protect your wallet. Protect your car with CarShield. Get our best protection ever. Call now. You'll thank me later. 800-965-1292. 800-965-1292. That's 800-965-1292.
So you call your virtual insurance company to ask a simple question about your policy, but now you're on hold, listening to this music, while you wait and wait and wait. Auto Owners works with local independent agents who tailor coverage to meet your needs and pick up the phone when you call, because you shouldn't be on hold so long that you memorize the music. That's simple human sense. Ask your independent agent if Auto Owners make sense for you.
We'll be back with more in a moment. This is The Sports Life.
Did you receive a call or message that mentioned Social Security and demanded immediate action? Did the caller know your Social Security number or other personal information and tell you that your Social Security number had been used in connection with the crime? Did you feel worried that your Social Security number might be suspended, your bank account might be frozen or seized, or you could be arrested? That is not the Social Security Administration. Social Security will not threaten you, demand your personal information, or instant payment, email or text you pictures or documents, or use a real government official's name to gain your trust. Social Security does not accept payments by gift card, prepaid debit card, internet currency, or by mailing cash. Criminals use these forms of payment because they are hard to trace. Do not be fooled. Hang up. Ignore them. Report this criminal activity to the Social Security Administration Office of the Inspector General at oig.ssa.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
And welcome back for more of the Sports Life. We'll team in here along with Dalton Shetler. As today on our show, we are visiting with the Executive Director of the Collegiate Officiating Consortium and the Coordinator of Officials for the Big Ten Conference, Terry Wymer. Hey, and don't forget, Auto Owners Insurance, simple human sense. Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you. Well, Terry, we've talked about rule changes and various other things so far in the show. But one thing we haven't asked you yet, as you look at the new rules that are being employed for the upcoming season, were there some rules you wish they might have added?
There's a right now, in my mind, we're always worried about the time on the clock, which we should be. The only time we really correct it is in the last 2 minutes of the game. So in 2013, I thought it creeped into the game. I had Wichita State and Louisville. Wichita State was winning most of the game. They should have actually won the game. And inadvertently, I guess they did win the game because Louisville had to forfeit all their championships. But they were winning. When the ball would go through the hoop, and you know this, you see it last year, it really got out of line. The player would let the ball dribble, bounce out after a made basket, walk over slowly, throw it to the official, take his time getting out of bounds. If you look at that, it's probably a little bit over a minute of a game that is lost. So I'm telling my people, once it goes through the net and he gets the ball, start the 5-second count. Because you talk about losing time. So now, but we're at the end of the game, we're worried about putting 0.4 seconds on the clock, 0.6 seconds. And here throughout the game, we've probably lost a minute. So hopefully they review how to expedite the game that way, get the ball in bounds. Because you can really slow a game down to momentum by just letting the ball go through the hoop. Nobody picks it up, or the referee has to go pick it up, wait for you to get out of bounds. But there's an abundance of time. I think we need to address something like that. Our rules supervisor, Jeff O'Malley, does a great job. Chris Rastetter listens to the Power Four guys. He's doing a great job trying to put things together with the NCAA. So they listen, they take notes. I mean, what was it, 10? How many rules was it? 11, 10 rules this year? There's probably another 30 out there that they sent out and want to talk about at some point. But next year, this is a rule change year. Next year they'll discuss it, put it on the agenda. Then the following year will be a rule change. So we're 2 years out from changing any rules, unless it's an emergency status and the other committees can overrule and push it through. So, but the timing really bothers me. It's in the rule book about physicality. It's in the rule book about, taking care of coaches. But the time of it just, if you want to expedite the game, we need to get the ball in play instead of walking around. When you're losing, you're getting the ball and going. When you're winning, controlling the clock. And coaches are smart. Coaches are good tacticians. They know, how to circumvent rules. That's the only rule I can think of off the top of my head. Well,
Terry, it's going to be here soon. I appreciate it.
Well, it's already here. I hate to break the news to you. Everybody, I got a kick out the Final Four. I get a couple of text messages. Hey, before you start vacation, do we have a couple minutes to talk? Well, I think I started vacation 2 weeks ago. Or 3 weeks ago, I took a week and went fishing in Canada. No Wi-Fi, no cell phones on my fishing trips. I detached from everybody, but now back into it. We're at it because I'm getting non-conference schedules, looking at all the big games, coming up, which we got a lot of big non-conference games. If you look at our teams, we have some great teams. Look at all the players that went in the NBA draft. I mean, just tremendous talent. I think lots of times it's just, playing all those games, 18 schools, playing them twice. I think it just wears on you. Everybody handles it different on their game plan. How do I handle going out to the West Coast? How do I handle coming back to the East Coast? A lot of kids are already used to that. They're playing AAU ball all over, and they're used to flying and traveling. But yeah, it's here. Well, it's here. So it's an exciting time, quite honestly. We just finished the 3 camps for training, looking at newer people to bring in, and we're going to put that list together probably on Wednesday. By Friday, we'll know who's going to be on our staff, who we're going to be adding. Our same core group that you see up there. There's probably I think there's 47 that work like that. They'll all be there. It's just getting them on the right games, right personalities with the coaches and things like that. So it's exciting. But there's never a dull moment in this position. So, Will, one thing we haven't spoke about, Dalton, is the gambling. I want to tell you, it's really, I think, is a downfall of our sports in general. I mean, I hear nightmares about players getting threats, coaches' families. I've got 3 threats on myself last year. And I'm really worried about officials and players and coaches from a standpoint. There's guys in the stand wagering big money. And let's take a shooter for Michigan State, whoever, misses a shot at the buzzer, it costs a guy $50,000. Or an official who kicks a call. Every official is going to miss calls, as I said in the beginning. We can't miss in the last 2 minutes. Under 4, we really can't miss the last 4 minutes. Somebody's going to miss a call, and then there's going to be they're going to have to pay for it from some gambler who's lost his money, his house, his wife, his family over a stupid bet. It's become these prop betting in the stands. It's becoming ridiculous for society. Get rich quick scheme, and you can't gamble and get rich. It's a losing proposition, Will, Dalton. And I don't know how you feel about it, but that's just my 2 cents on gambling.
Well, I think it's a really valid fear, and I think as that continues to grow, my question would be, Terry, the toothpaste is kind of out of the tube on this one, kind of for worse, not really for better or worse, just for worse. What is the proper steps moving forward? Is it more regulation with gambling? Is it getting rid of prop bets, micro bets, those types of things?
I would say you got to get rid of those prop bets for number one. I don't think you can ever regulate it enough. They'll find ways to get around the regulations. I'm worried about players getting involved, because when these players come back after a game, if they're not staying in a dorm with all basketball players, they still walk in, and I know they get quizzed on, hey, how's so-and-so health? How's he doing? I haven't seen him for a while. They're looking for anything to help them make a decision. I'll give you an example. Peyton Sanford, who's to me, like most of our players, the hell of a kid and the hell of a shooter. I can remember last year, I think he went 2 for 11 or 3 for 12, something like that, and they got beat. Guess who gets the threats? They come after him. Social networking has been bad for that, because they can come right at you and build a case. And I felt so bad for Peyton, but he's not the only one. There's multiple players that get the same thing. I had 2 referees last year, and like I said, I got 3 anonymous calls or letters, whatever combination. It doesn't excite me too much when you get a personal attack, because you only try to do your best, but it's gambling. And so I don't mean to drag on here, Dalton, but I'd say prop bets, you can regulate it, but they'll find a way around it. I think one player last year, or 2 players, I think it was a football player, they were betting, but guess what? They talked, the mother was betting for them, but they did do the paper trail. These guys that follow it, the FBI, the gambling, let's say Caesars, I guess, they can see who's trying to sway a bet and who it's coming from. So it's just, they police it so well. And if you think you're going to get away with it, you're wrong. Now they'll get away with threatening, especially referees and myself. Listen, I get the idea that we're third-class citizens, okay? But they need to take care of those players, those young players who are giving it their all every night. Nobody wants to win worse than them or the coach. They need to definitely stay away from them, because it comes back into mental health then. Nobody's really, I tell you this, Dalton, nobody's had worse mental health than referees, but because we're grown men, we're supposed to accept it. Well, it's come to light because of players having mental health issues, and this is all part of it. The stress, the pressure. They can't go out and be kids again and enjoy the game and do what they love without, this guy lost X amount of dollars, and they can find your Facebook. I don't do Facebook. I don't do any social networking, because everything that would come through on my behalf would be negative. But they still get my cell phone number. They still get, they still get my email, and they can come after me fine, but just leave the players alone. They're in it for the good of the game. We're all in it for the good of the game, but they're aspiring to, play ball in the NBA, G League, overseas. They're doing nothing wrong, and they are going to make mistakes, just like officials make mistakes. But you got to be able to extend. I'll just go back to what I said earlier. Majority of the coaches I talk to in the Big Ten will say, Terry, no officials ever cost us a game, and no officials ever won us a game. And I respect those coaches from that.
What a wonderful visit with a great guy, Terry Wymer, the executive director of the Collegiate Officiating Consortium and the coordinator of officials for the Big Ten Conference. Well, when we come back with more of the sports life, our parting shots in just a moment.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Dad, did you get a new haircut or something? A new shirt? You're looking good.
What happened?
A little fender bender?
How little?
A few days in the shop little, but thanks to Mom and our agent, we've already submitted a claim and can track the status right from the app. Auto owners pays what they owe without any hassle.
Sounds like simple human sense.
I'm fine, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna ask.
Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
Everything is expensive right now. Gas, food, you name it. You're spending more, you are making the same or less money. So, what do? You rack up credit card debt, that's what you do. It's not your fault. It's the economy. And guess what? If you rack up too much credit card debt like some of us, you can't pay your bills. Then the credit card companies, as nice as they are, start hounding you for money. Then you start your downward spiral. A smart thing for you to do is to call the Zero Debt. They can help you consolidate all your credit card bills into one affordable payment. Millions of people have done it. It works to make you debt-free. Make this free call right now. It costs you nothing to learn more.
800-298-9093. 800-298-9093. 800-298-9093. That's 800-298-9093.
So, got one for you, boss.
Oh, yeah?
What's black, white, and dented all over?
I give up.
The company truck. I know, but thanks to our agent, we've already submitted an insurance claim and can track the status right from the app. Auto owners pays what they owe without any hassle.
Lucky for you, that's simple human sense.
Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
We'll be back with more in a moment. This is The Sports Life.
I found hope in the midst of an overwhelming situation.
Alcoholism is a disease that can affect any family. Everyone suffers, but there is help and hope at Al-Anon Family Groups.
Al-Anon gave me my life back. I'm a better father and husband.
Are you in an overwhelming situation because of someone else's drinking?
Al-Anon and Alateen can help.
Local and virtual meetings are available. Maybe one could work for you. Call 1-866-200-0033 or visit alanon.org/hope.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player.
No matter the challenges I face every day in the NFL, my mom is always there for me, despite her own struggles with muscular dystrophy. And MDA is there for my mom. At their 150 care centers across the U.S., MDA is the leading organization in research and care for kids and adults with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and related neuromuscular diseases. Join me and learn more at helpmda.org today. Thank you.
And welcome back for more of the Sports Life. We'll team in along with Dalton Shetler. Great visit on the show with Terry Wymer. He really had a great view about officiating, some insight there, as well as some of the new rules that will affect the game of college basketball this upcoming season. And now we have worked our way to the ever-famous parting shots.
That's right. And by the way, if you missed that conversation with Terry Wymer, or it was so nice you want to hear it twice, make sure you give us a follow at Sports Life Now on Twitter or X. That's again at Sports Life Now. Football's coming up. It's this month, right around the corner, if you can believe it or not. And one of the big things in Big Ten football, of course, is always defense. And a lot of the time, we highlight the Iowa Hawkeyes because this group finds ways to win, oftentimes without scoring at the high level that maybe other teams do. It's become the butt of some jokes, some different things, but there's also this crazy stat that I stumbled across I want to share with you here, Will. This was sent and shared by Ben Scott Stevens on Twitter or X, who does a great job in covering some of the unique facets of Big Ten football. And he puts that since 2020, when Iowa scores at least 21 points in a game, they have 32 wins, 1 loss. They've only lost 1 time in the last handful of years when they score at least 21 points a game. That highlights the absurdity that the Iowa football experience has been for the last handful of years.
21 points?
That's all it takes, and
That's
you're
it?
32-1.
That should be the over and under. Are you going to get 21 or not?
That's right.
Over or under. Well, mine is probably not as clever as that, but the All-Star Game MVP, Kyle Schwarber, who's now with the Philadelphia Phillies, is arguably maybe the most famous player in baseball at Indiana University. Well, he got a special honor as he's been elected into their Athletics Hall of Fame, and why not? He basically owns every record when it comes to Indiana baseball. And our executive producer, Wendy Hart, loves him a lot because he was part of the 2016 Cubs team that finally won a World Series. So he is famous in her mind.
That's right.
But he's got a problem. He can't go into the Hall of Fame at Indiana, at least not this year, because the induction ceremony is September the 5th. And to get in, you are required to attend. Well, he's playing with the Phillies, and they're playing at Miami, and so he can't make it. So the best player in Indiana baseball will not be in the Hall of Fame this year, but maybe next year he can get in.
It's just hanging in the balance for a delay.
He's just got to get there. That's all he's got to do. And with that, that's a wrap for our show this week. We appreciate everybody joining us. And we should also note that you can find us wherever you find your podcasts, like SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple. And make sure to check us out and hit subscribe. As always, thanks to the Big Ten Network. The Sports Life is produced by Dalton Shetler, and our executive producer is Wendy Hart. So on behalf of Dalton Shetler, I'm Will Tiemann, and thanks for your time.